Hello and welcome to Soundcheck by Support Act. My name is Luke and I'm from Support Act, and today I'm joined by Jeremy Fleming from Stagekings. Thanks for joining me, Jeremy.
Not a problem, Luke. So good to be having a chat.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you on. But before we progress any further, I just want to remind everyone about the Support Act 24/7 Wellbeing Helpline. You can call the helpline at 1-800-959-500, and it's a service that's available to the entire arts sector. And if you are dealing with a mental health concern or something related to your profession, and you want to talk to a mental health professional who is familiar with working with people in the arts industry, make sure you make that call. On top of that, we also have our crisis relief fund at the moment for people who work in the music industry. If you think that you qualify, to check your eligibility, make sure you head to our website, supportact.org.au, and put in an application now. So Jeremy, Stagekings, you guys, first of all, thank you so much for everything you've done for Support Act through this lockdown period. I heard the updated number of donations that you guys have provided to us through your business pivot, which has been a pretty incredible story. And so just on behalf of everyone at Support Act and people who've been receiving our support, thank you so much for your efforts.
Look, really not a problem. It was really important for us to be able to give back some way, and we thought you guys do an amazing job, and yeah, everyone that we deal with has been affected in some way. So thank you guys for what you're doing.
No worries. Well, I think it's probably important for people who are tuning in to hear the Stagekings story. So let's go back. What did Stagekings used to do?
Look, yeah, prior to the COVID crisis, we were building stages and structures for many different events. Some people might know, like Ultra Music Festival, Adelaide 500, that's two of the more recent ones. Most of what we've been doing over the last 5 years, we've been operating for 5 years, has been big decorated kind of stages and structures. Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, the pop-up Globe, we've built that 3 times around the country, and stuff like the Edinburgh Military Tattoo, the castle for that in Sydney last year, Ninja Warrior set. So we do some pretty cool stuff. Big projects, yeah. Yeah,
and cool. And obviously stages in like large festivals and gigs, etc., have been getting bigger and bigger and more ornate. So I guess that's all part of your wheelhouse as well, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. That's really why we started Stagekings, was to get into that more decorated kind of structures and doing those theme stages.
Yeah, excellent. So what happened personally for you, I guess, when coronavirus first hit, but also as a business? What were your first impressions, thoughts, feelings when COVID first kicked in?
The first thing was how are we going to survive with no income? As soon as that the public gathering ban came into place, that's we lost 100% of everything we had coming up, and so we had 23 staff at the time working on a couple of projects in Melbourne for the Formula One and Ninja Warrior. So it was what were we going to do with those guys, and how were we going to survive? We got rent to pay and financing to pay off, and it was pretty scary. My wife, my business partner, and I, Tabitha, we sat down and thought of what we needed to cut where, and we really thought for a few minutes there that we might potentially lose the house. We might have to move back in with the parents, So it was pretty horrible.
So, and I guess, people show strength in these times in different ways. But also, on the other hand, there's been a lot of small businesses hit that, I imagine people have been struggling through this tough time. How was that for you guys? In your house, you're in business with your wife. I was in business with my wife as well, so I know what it's like. How did that feel for you, emotionally, getting into that, like, looking down the barrel of, a tough time ahead?
It was really stressful. So there's my wife and I. We then have Mick, our head of production. He's key to all of this. It was very, very stressful, and luckily for us, we came up with an idea pretty quickly. So it was really Friday the 13th, and then by Friday the 20th is when we had to make some big decisions. And it was only a day or two after that we'd made this pivot, as I've heard many times that word now. And we were able to get going again really quickly. But for that 1 week, it was terrifying. We really thought, unless we could come up with something, we were going to lose everything. So there was really no option but to try and come up with something.
Yeah. And in terms of your staff, before we move on to your amazing pivot, I mean, you said you had 23 staff on board. What was kind of the talk amongst the staff group, and how were they feeling about what was coming up?
Look, everyone was freaking out, to be honest. We had the discussions very quickly with the guys and mentioned what was possibly going to happen, in that there was no work for months on end until no one knew how long it was going to go for. We really had to have those discussions early and get everyone prepared for it. Which was horrible. These guys have been with us for, some of them for the whole 5 years we've been in operation. So yeah, it was really tough.
So I guess this is where we depart and turn to the incredible kind of success story, I guess, of Stagekings. The first I heard of it, my best mate works in the furniture business with Herman Miller, right? Who are one of the world's biggest furniture. Right. And he takes great enjoyment when people ask him what he does. He says, I work in monitor arms, which I think is kind of minimizing what he does for a role. But he said to me, have you heard of these guys, Stagekings? And I said, oh yeah, I think they've had some stuff to do with Support Act in the past. And he's like, well, check this out. And that was the first I heard of your amazing new venture once coronavirus hit. So maybe you want to inform us of what happened next.
Brilliant. I love hearing how people heard the story, because it blows my mind. You know, a friend of mine in Townsville jumped on a marketing call last week, and he rang up. He said he got into the call a few minutes late, and they were all talking about Stagekings in this marketing call with some random business, and really amazing. So yeah, we came up with the idea to make work from home office furniture, and specifically desks at the start. We knew of a lot of people that have been trying to find desks. There were none available. Officeworks and IKEA were sold out, and fantastic furniture had an 18-week lead time on desks, and which we saw as a great opportunity. And Mick, like I mentioned, our head of production, is also a designer, and he's designed furniture and built all the furniture in his own house for many, many years. And so I should just quickly mention that where the initial seed of an idea came from was a friend in Ireland in the same situation. And
right. I was going to say, who takes credit for the amazing idea?
Yeah, look, I give him credit, and then Mick gets the credit for the designs moving forward. But Steve Fox, we were chatting to him, and he mentioned they were starting to consider furniture, and that we should look at the same thing, and so we did. And on that Sunday after Friday the 20th, so I messaged Mick and said, we need to look at desks, and it was overnight that he had 2 designs then ready to roll. 3D printed prototypes to show me on Monday morning, and we cut the first 2 desks on Monday, and Monday night Tab wrote the e-commerce site, and by Tuesday we were taking photos and had gone live. So it was literally 48 hours between an idea and being live and selling desks.
Incredible. So a lot of the discussion we've been having on Soundcheck has been around crew, and how, obviously the industry being cancelled to an extent, and how that's impacted on the mental health and well-being of people who work in production. What did it mean to your business and to your staff to be able to say, hey, we've got this idea, we're going to start slowly with it, but then we think we've got legs? What did it mean to your staff?
They were blown away so that Friday, the 20th that I mentioned, that we told them all that we were going to have to sort of let everyone have some time now until we worked out what was going to happen. And Sunday we had the idea. Tuesday we cut the first desks and went live. Within a couple of hours we'd already started to sell desks. So it was that same day we called them back in. So we had a half a dozen guys back from that Wednesday, and everyone was really so thankful. It's still such a positive place to be, because no one's actually had to be locked away for so long because everyone's been working still, and we're over 50 staff now. So we've built up over the last 3 months.
You've actually almost doubled in size through this.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. So importantly to us was to, like I mentioned earlier, to help the industry as much as we could. So everyone working for us is out of work event crew. So we've got, guys from all the venues in here. We've got festivals crew and festival cleaning staff and all these different event workers that had nothing when this happened. So we're pretty proud that we've been able to do that, and everyone's pretty stoked to be working.
Oh, Jeremy, it really is a marvelous story. I mean, we've heard a lot of sad stories, I guess, throughout all of coronavirus, and we've certainly at Support Act, we've been watching Stagekings, and then like I said, amongst my group of friends and colleagues and whatnot, looking at the success of it, and it's truly one of the success stories. And I guess for you and your wife as well, you guys would have been looking at JobKeeper and all of these things related to keeping a business together all at the same time as trying to get this idea going.
Absolutely. We had to think of what we needed to do to make it, and that came up. Luckily for us, and we are in a fortunate situation that we had this idea and we were able to pivot. And I understand that not everyone can do that. So we were in a lucky position to do it. So we've not had to put anything else on hold. We've been able to keep making repayments to people and keeping things turning over. So we feel very fortunate for that. And we're really blown away.
So I knew that the idea had taken root when my wife decided she wanted to get a stand-up desk for work at home, and she came in with her laptop and said, "What do you think? I've got these two choices. There's these guys like, oh, there's Stagekings again coming up." People are really excited by the product. So let's talk about the product a little bit. Like, what's the kind of inspiration for it? And I see that it really ties in nicely with your brand and everything now. And it's still kind of paying homage to what you were doing.
Yeah, well, for us, the key was that it had to work quickly and look good and not have tools. So that's three not so easy things to tie together. But Mick is a genius and an amazing designer, and he's been able to come up with all those. We've just actually been through everything this morning. We now have over 50 products, including the different laminate tops and things. So. And it's grown from there. For us, the key has been to keep the communication open with our audience now, which the majority, 90% of people that know the name Stagekings now knows us as furniture and not staging. But we go to those to the social media and ask what people need and what they're after. Your listeners may have seen we put a guitar rack on last night, and we made it a custom order for someone that wanted it, and everyone that has seen it loved it so much. We put it up there and said, "Oh, who wants this?" And overnight, we've had over 500 people say, "Yep, let's make those." So that's going to be next cab off the rank.
So I mean, that's a really good question. Now, like after all of this, do you see yourself moving back the other way, or is this the new normal for Stagekings? You think?
It's part of the new normal. We certainly will get back into stages. It's what we love doing.
Passion.
But yeah, that's right. But the furniture will continue on the side. We're not going to stop that now. We've got, like I said, the following's blowing us away. We're reaching 250,000 people a week now through social media, and it's just gone this little viral thing, that a little idea we had to try and keep Mick and myself and a couple of others actually working and the lights on has turned into this creature that we can't control.
It's one thing that I've learned through this job, and particularly with Support Acts Association with crew care, is like the amazing resilience of the people who work behind the scenes in the music industry. And I think Stageking's success is just another demonstration of going, all right, what can we do to respond to this problem? Like going forward, like going back to talking about mental health and people's well-being again. I mean, I think the fact that you've taken on board people from the crewing industry to be a part of your success is like a really amazing testament to you guys. But what do you think the industry can do better going forward to support workers in times of crisis? Like, do you have any personal feelings about how you can support workers better?
Yeah, look, I think what You mentioned crew care. What those guys are doing is pretty special. Their mental health first aid course, I'm yet to do it. I want to do it.
Mhm.
Is quite amazing. I've spoken to a lot of people that have done that, and it's a real eye opener. I think being more aware of that mental health side is key. Particularly in our industry, I really see that so many people do struggle, and for an industry that lives gig to gig, to have every gig stopped, just mentally is such a massive thing. So I think that's where I think that we should be focusing more is on that mental health, which I know you guys and crew care are doing, and I think we should all continue that and get out and do that mental health first aid course and be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, that's great advice. All right. Well, lastly, before we wrap up, I just want to remind people about the Support Act Wellbeing Helpline whilst we're on the topic. You can call that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 1-800-959-500. And also open to crew, musicians, and also music workers. And now just recently with funding from the Australian Federal Government, the entire arts sector, that's our Wellbeing Helpline. Get onto that. And also our Crisis Relief Fund. Go to supportact.org.au and have a look to see if you are eligible. And lastly, before I wrap up, Jeremy, to mention those numbers, over $40,000 donated to Support Act through the lockdown. We really 100% appreciate it. It helps us do what we can do. And we look forward to hearing more amazing stories coming out of Stagekings.
Brilliant, Luke. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for your time. See ya.
Cheers. See ya.